So how do I get 10%? Let's talk about the 10% boogeyman. It's not possible to make 10%. You heard me talk about this earlier today, like the stock market since 2009. It's gone up over 400% with reinvested dividends in the last 10 years. We're up 20% year to date. Now look, the markets go up and the markets go down. Do I believe you can make 10% on your money in the markets long term? Yes, I actually do. And I'm not some wizard. I just know what history's done. And to make this point, I put this chart in the back of the book, which Morningstar, who has the greatest data in the world on investing, was kind enough to give me this chart to use in the book. And so it's in the back of the book because there's always critical friends go, oh, you can't make 10% in the market. And then, here's the chart that shows since 1926 to now, large company stocks have averaged over 10%. Small company stocks, by the way, way more aggressive, have averaged over 12%. Bonds have averaged 5%. So on a worst case basis, if I have a blend of bonds and stocks, and I end up in the middle, they told me not to touch this too hard, I'm going to get 78%. A diversified, boring portfolio, let me just say, a diversified, boring portfolio is going to earn you probably 78% annually, which also works out just fine because you'll double your money every 10 years. So it's not rocket science. It's just math. But with math, the rate of return matters a lot. Like I have to drill this into your heads here because it's such a big deal. This is just giving you a $100,000 example of the difference between 1%, 4%, 8%. Take that in for a moment. At 1%, 100 grand grows to, in 10 years, 110. At 4% in 10 years, it grows to 148. At 8%, it grows to $215,000. So at 8%, your money doubles in what? 10 years. In 30 years, your money grows tenfold. Wow, right? At 8%. At 4%, it just triples. At 1%, it doesn't even grow. With taxes and inflation at 1% of bank account, you went backwards. So that is the same chart showing me, that's the same chart not needed. This is the chart. This is the chart taking it out 40 years. In 40 years, it's 20 times greater. This is the second most important chart I've ever seen. The first chart I told you is the most important chart was that $2,000 IRA chart. This was the chart that made it black and white for me as a financial advisor that I had to get my clients over here. I need my clients to be earning 7, 8, 9%. If I can do that, my clients won't run out of money. You need to be earning 7, 8, 9%. Now, there may become a time where you have so much money that you don't, where 4 or 5% is fine. But for most of us that are trying to accumulate wealth, you got to have a diversified portfolio. And again, I talked about this, the rule of 72. So want to know how long it takes to double your money? You take 72 and divide it by the rate of return. So this is like a really cool trick that you want to go home and play with and show your friends over cocktails because it makes you look super smart. So you take 72 and you divide it by rate of return. That's how long it takes to double your money. So kids, 72 divided by 7%, how long does it take to double your money? 10 months. 72 divided by 10%, how long does it take to double your money? 2 months. 72% divided by 3, how long does it take? You just went, wow, because guess what? This is CD rates. That's where bulk of American money is, which really is hard to build wealth with. What if I'm in a bank account? And you just go, that's generous, right? Like, you're just going nowhere.
Okay, so this might be a little detailed, but I'm still confused why you would ever choose to do a Roth because ultimately you wouldn't, the taxes that get taken out at the end are not compounded, but if putting the 15 grand in your example would be compounded over and over again, it seems like a no-brainer that you wouldn't. Do you get my question?
I totally get your question, and I completely agree with you.
Okay.
What she's trying to, she's like, okay, I'm going to put money in a Roth IRA, and it's going to grow, and then I'm not going to pay taxes later, but if I had put the same amount in a tax-deductible IRA to get the same number, right? Like, if I put 15 in tax-deductible IRA, and then it grew, and I pay taxes later, doesn't it kind of come out the same? Yeah, pretty much. So here's the question. The Roth IRA was just a trick to get Americans to pay tax. And they bribed you with tax-free takeout later. So you just have to ask yourself a question. If you had a choice to give the government your money or keep it, this is my opinion, which would you choose? And people go, oh, but you're going to pay more in taxes when you retire because taxes are going to go higher. And the answer is maybe. Maybe they won't go higher. Maybe you're not going to take all the money out at once. I just would rather have control of all my money as long as I want. At 70 and a half, you have to start. One thing about deductible IRAs, there's one couple small thing. At 70 and a half, you have to start taking what's called a minimum distribution. So you have to start taking roughly 3% of your money out of your IRA at 70 and a half. People get all depressed about this. I'm like, don't get depressed. Have a party, take the money out, pay the taxes, go enjoy it. With a Roth, you don't have to take the money out. They're going to change all of that someday anyway. But they're already talking about moving back the RMD date. And tax laws can be changed at any time. So, again, I'd rather have money in the account and have control over it. More about it later. Yeah.
Yes. Hi, David. There was one point you mentioned about the solo 401k.
Yep.
How do you earn 50,000 as a side gig, but then you get to deduct 30,000 of that?
It's a trick.
I'd like to learn that trick,
Yes.
please.
So with the SEP IRA, you can put 25% of your gross income away. So that's why on 50, 25% of 50, it's like a little over 10. With the solo 401k plan, there's two parts of it. There's the 401k part, which you can put 100% of your income away up to your maximum. So if you're under 50, you can take the first $19,000 and put in the part of the solo 401k sleeve, 100%. And it actually, most companies don't allow you to do this, but you can actually put 100% of your income away in a 401k plan up to the maximum. If you're over 50, you can put 26,000. So what happens is you fully fund that sleeve, then you have inside of that the 25% option. And the 25% option allows you to fund the rest of it. It's really cool. So the only thing I'll tell you is it's more complicated to open up a solo 401k plan. There's more paperwork. But again, all those firms I showed you, Fidelity, Vanguard, TD, they all have them. SEP IRA takes 10 minutes to set up. A solo 401k plan takes a couple hours.
Sorry, to follow up on that one.
Yeah.
If my husband already has a 401k, but I am the one that does the side gigs, then does that go through his 401k as a spousal 401k, or do I set up a SEP, a solo 401k?
Do you have self-employed income?
Yes.
Has nothing to do with your husband. You have your own business, your own income. You can do a SEP, or you can do a solo 401k plan. You can't do both.
Okay.
So SEP's the easiest to start with, but it sounds to me like you really want to save more money. So I'm all for the solo 401k plan. Your husband can have a 401k plan. You can have a solo 401k plan.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Isn't it that if you have a 401k plan at work, you can't contribute to both that and a solo 401k?
She doesn't, though.
Right. I'm just.
Yes. Pretty much. Because it's still really a SEP. It's still looked at, I think, as a SEP. There's such a small percentage of people who use solo 401k plans. But again, in her case, it doesn't matter. Her husband's got a 401k plan. She can now go have a solo 401k plan. You can also, by the way, I've been asked this question a lot. can I have a job where I've got a 401k plan and have a SEP IRA? If you have a separate business where you have a side gig, you got a freelance business over here and you got a job over here, the answer is you can do both. Yeah.
My wife owns her own business, and I'm interested in setting up this 401. Is there any impact if she has part-time employees, or is that just something totally separate to her?
The answer is it depends. This is where it starts to get tricky. So it depends on how many employees does she have and how long have they been working, and are they really employees or are they freelance people? So solo 401k plans are ideal for self-employed. I have no employees. The only person who works with me is my spouse. They were literally designed in a way for husband and wife to create it's weird, but that's what people kind of call them, the married couple self-employed retirement account. SEP IRAs also, after, I think it's 3 years, don't quote me on that, go check the IRS.gov rules, but after 3 years, you've got to contribute for your employees. So if you're self-employed and you got a bunch of employees, you will only open up a SEP IRA for a very short period of time, and then you'll have to go put in place a 401k plan or a simple IRA. And I would do a solo 401k plan. I'm sorry, I would do a regular 401k plan, not a solo 401k plan.
What happens when you are a saver and your spouse is a spender? We could do and be better, but so hampered by the spender in the family. What is your advice to people in that scenario?
The whole room just went, first of all, what you should know is you're totally normal. Most people are wired one of two ways. You're either wired to save money or you're wired to spend money. And I always joke, people come out of birth one way or another, right? Like, some people are really born like with a calculator, like, where's all the money going? And other people are born like, oh wait, I want to buy that, I want to buy that. I mean, my 9-year-old has never seen a store that he hasn't walked into. It is a trip, right? Like, where were we the other day? We're in West Hollywood, we're going shopping, and like, he's walking into antique stores. He's 9 years old, and my wife's friend goes, why is he going in those stores? And she's like, he just loves to shop. You know? My 15-year-old loves to keep his money. So typically we fall in love with our financial opposite. You thought it was sexual chemistry? Nope. You're like a magnet for your financial opposite. So the truth is that money fights pull couples apart. Money is the number one cause of divorce. And I wrote my second book, Smart Couples Finish Rich, because I had gotten married. We were fighting about money. Ironically, we both worked at a financial service company. We should have been the last two people to fight about money. But we were opposites. And I was getting emails from all these women telling me that they couldn't agree with their husband about money. And I was printing these emails up, and I showed them to my wife, and I'm like, look at all these people who are fighting over money, and they think I should write a book for couples and money. And she looked at me, and she's like, you should write that book because we could use it. And so I thought, okay, there's always a lesson in the pain. And I thought, I've got all these clients that are happily married and wealthy. What did they do? I also have people who've come into my office and gotten divorced. And so I started interviewing all of these clients I had, ordinary people who become millionaires who are happily married. And I asked questions like, well, what did you guys do to get on the same page? And inevitably they said, we agreed on a goal. So instead of focusing on the fights and the spending, we agreed on a goal. We agreed on a savings rate. We agreed on what we were saving for. We agreed on, we're saving money for retirement. This is why it matters. We agreed on how much we would save for retirement. We talked about things like college early. We saved for college just like we did with the 401k plan. We agreed on, instead of a Christmas account, we agreed on a vacation account. And what if you guys didn't agree? And what people came back to me, and at the time, again, I was new in the business, they said, well, David, we really focused on our values. So like Smart Women Finish Rich and Smart Couples Finish Rich are what I call values-focused financial planning. When you're clear on your values, what matters most to you, you can be pulled, almost drawn to what you need to do. Most couples come together because they actually do have same values. You try to, right? Like you don't try to marry somebody with the opposite values of you, typically, right? And yet our behaviors can be different. So the thing to do, and this is like I could do a whole seminar on this, but the thing to do for couples who are fighting over money is put the things that you're fighting about money aside. Make a list of your values. I'm teaching smart couples how to do this. Write down your 5 values. Each of you. There's like a little values circle that's in the book. And you write your values out, and then you talk about them together. And what you'll find is that your values line up, and then the question is how you spend money lining up with your values? That's the place to start as a couple, is to actually have a values conversation. Because what couples are fighting about money, they're always fighting about what they're spending it on. When you focus couples in on their values and then you start to go through the spending and go, well, okay, we said we want this. We said we want to be, family's most important to us, but all the two of us do is work. And we never even see our kids. What will we have to do financially to change that? My experience has been working with couples who are fighting about money. Focus on your values. You can fix the fights.
That's great. All right, so I'm going to kind of summarize what a lot of people have been talking about, but is where do I start paying down different kind of debts that I have first versus investing? So Nicole is talking about she has money that she's putting into her retirement, not the full amount, because she's also wanting to pay down her mortgage. And so this kind of, how do you balance what to attack first when you've got loans, when you've got, all these different things?
So it's complicated. I always start everybody off with paying themselves first. Because if you wait to pay off your debts, you'll never start paying yourself first. Or you'll literally wait until you're in your 40s or 50s, which is good. Better to do it at 40 and 50 than to not do it all. Elizabeth just talked about how she started at 50 and she's changing her life. It's never too late. But too many people are waiting. Too many young people have student loans, and they're paying all the student loans off, and they're not going to get around to saving until 40, or 45, or 50. And it doesn't work. You need the compound interest to work for you. So what I would tell you is it's a game of math again. Let's say you have $100 a month that you could put away. 50 of it, half, should go to paying yourself first. The other half can go towards paying down your debt, especially if it's high interest rate debt. If it's credit card debt, you want to chunk that credit card debt down as fast as you can because it's just a ripoff. If it's a mortgage debt and your mortgage is 3.5% on your rate, well, then I might want you putting more into your 401k plan because I want you getting the max that you can put in that 401k plan because I want you to get the match. So usually you've got to be saving 5, 6, 7, 8% in your 401k plan to get all the free match that your employer may add. So something that's really important is if you have a company with a 401k plan, with a match, the question to go ask your HR people today is how much do you need to put in to get the full match? Because that's free money. And that's not like a little bit of free money. It can be a lot of free money, right? So you don't want to leave a free dollar on the side. So someone's like, oh, well, then I'd rather see you max out that and get the full match than going and paying off more debt. But I want you to do both. I teach in the Automatic Millionaire system I call DOLP, done on last payment. It's like similar to Dave Ramsey, the snowball method, but you take all of your debts and you line them up and you start with the smallest debt and you make minimum payments on everything. And then you take the smallest debt and you put all the extra money into the smallest debt. You pay that off. That's done. Then you go to the next smallest debt. You make minimum payments, and you put it towards that debt, and it's done. And the reason it's psychological, first of all. It's not about the highest interest rate, it's psychological. Like, I've done these things with whiteboards where we line up a person's debt, and we just number 1 through 10. And we go, okay, you got 10 of these now, and here's the smallest one. We're going to make minimum payments on everything and get the smallest one gone. Now you got 9. Now you got 8. Now you got 7. People put this stuff in the refrigerators. And they have debt-free parties because they just like clicking them off.
Awesome.
What else you got?
I like the debt-free party. Did you have one? Okay, let's take one more. Go ahead. And if you could stand up, that's great.
Good afternoon. I am self-employed, and I noticed that you keep on saying to save 25% of your gross income. So how does that work for me? Since once my office, and because I'm a realtor, so my commission gets, so I really don't understand which one should I be saving from.
Okay, so great question. So let me start by saying one of the mistakes that people who are self-employed make, and it happens to a lot of realtors actually. The beauty of being self-employed is you can write off a lot legally. And so CPAs, especially with realtors, my wife's a realtor, will tell you all the things you can write off. You can write off your car, you can write off your phone, you can write off your eating out, because whenever you're meeting with somebody, I'm just talking about stuff you can do legally. Like you can run all of your expenses legally a lot of them through your business. And then you get to the end of the year and you didn't really have a lot of profit. And your CPA will say to you, congratulations, you didn't pay a lot in taxes. The problem is you got to the end of the year and you've got zero money. So you made a bunch of money, you spent a bunch of money, you paid low taxes, and you have no savings. Then the market gets slow. Then there's no income coming in. This happens to realtors all the time. So what has to happen when you're a realtor, and I would apply this to actually anybody who's self-employed. You need, and this is in the Start Late, Finish First class, so you have access to it because you're on the insider team. Anybody else can go get it online and create it live. I do a whole thing on a business in a box. So like when my wife came into business as a realtor, here's literally what I did for her. This is going to be a long answer to a short question. She got her license. She works at Corcoran in New York City. She passed her license. She's like, I got my license. I got my desk. I'm like, awesome. We need to get your business set up. You need to have an LLC. She's like, what do you mean I need an LLC? I'm like, you need to have a business for your business. She's like, I haven't gone to the office yet. I'm like, I know, but you have to treat your business like it's a business. Anybody who's self-employed, you need to treat your business like a business. So first thing we need to do is get an LLC. What's an LLC? How do I get an LLC? It's a limited liability company. It's a separate business. It's a separate shell for your business. We went online and in minutes set up her LLC. So many places you can do this. I'm like, okay, now you need a business credit card. She's like, a business credit card? I haven't even gone to the office yet. I'm like, I know, but you're going to, and you're going to start spending money, and you have to keep track of it on a separate card. How am I going to get a business credit card? I haven't made any money. Online. Watch. In minutes, she's approved. Self-employed credit card with American Express. Okay. So she's got an LLC. She's got her credit card. Oh, you also need a DBA because you need to have the business name. In her case, we went and got her name, put the LLC in her name. You need a bookkeeper. What do you mean I need a bookkeeper? I haven't made any money yet. I know you haven't, but you're going to. And you have to track every dollar that comes in from a commission standpoint. Because the moment a dollar comes in, I need you to be putting money aside for taxes. Because if you don't put money aside for taxes and you spend it, we're going to get to the end of the year, and then you're going to want me to pay your taxes. But by the way, all these things apply to anybody self-employed. So the bookkeeper is going to take the money, it's going to come in, she's going to separate off money for taxes. Because by the way, you're also going to need to do quarterly estimates, which most self-employed people don't do. They get to the end of the year, they owe a ton of money in taxes, they didn't put anything aside, and now they don't have the money. You're going to need a SEP IRA, honey. A SEP IRA? Yeah, you need to open up a self-employed retirement account, and then we're going to have the bookkeeper set aside money for the SEP IRA. I haven't even gone to the office yet. I literally call the financial service company and go, we need a SEP IRA for her. Now, everything I just described, there were like 6 things there. We did it all in 2 hours. 2 hours, LLC, credit card, bookkeeper. She got my bookkeeper, but basically that bookkeeper was like $100 a month. Not even, 50 probably. SEP IRA online in minutes. Now the money's all being compartmentalized. So the check's coming in. No, honey, you didn't make $10,000. You made $10,000 minus $3,500 for taxes. So you made $6,500. But remember I told you had to fund your SEP IRA. So you need to take 15% and put at least 15%, put that aside. So your 10,000's really 5. She's like, this is not nearly as much fun as I wanted it to be. But here's the thing. She did all this 5 years ago. yesterday, literally, she's looking at her SEP IRA, and the market's all-time high. And she's, honey, are you watching me? The funny thing, she watched the first hour. She was getting her hair done. She's like, I'm listening to you. This is really good. She looks at her IRA account, and she's like, woohoo! I'm like, what? She's like, she starts telling me how much money's in it. And I go, see? It adds up. She worked in publishing for, I think, 19 years. Didn't fully, until she met me, didn't fully fund her 401k plan. She met me, she went to real estate, she funded a SEP IRA. Every year she's maxed out that SEP IRA to the maximum that she can based on her income. Her retirement account is almost 4 times more than it was 10 years ago. So the beauty of being in real estate is that you can get this money put away, but you've got to be putting it off the top, and you can't run all your expenses through the business because it's 25% of your gross income. So if you get to the end of the year and you use a SEP and you're at zero, you can't put 25% of zero away. Which, going back to what you can do, if for some reason you've run expenses low, and you still want to fund a retirement account, then you do a solo 401k plan, because a solo 401k plan is perfect for a self-employed realtor. Because what I would tell you is that you should take the first couple deals a year you do and fully fund the solo 401k plan. Then it's off the top and you're done. I speak to a lot of realtors. I spoke at the RE/MAX annual convention a few years ago. Just telling me, have them come, invite me in. You know, it was Las Vegas. When you tell me you got 5,000 people coming to and you're bringing me in and write me a check, I'm there. So I said, like, look, guys, do one more deal a year, fully fund your retirement account. Some of you are making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in commissions per deal, and you don't have a retirement account. Realtors make a lot of money, and most realtors are broke. In classic Oprah story, there's the After the Hours show she used to do. So we do the first show, we take questions. Beautiful woman gets up, asks the question, says, you know, I make this money, but it comes in, it goes out. And she gives this whole reason why she hasn't saved anything, and I go, let me guess, you're in real estate. And she goes, yeah, I am. And Oprah looks at me and goes, how did you know that? I go, oh, Oprah, I can always tell. So, yeah, you got to do this. Go get yourself a solo 401k plan. Put as much as you can on the first couple deals a year. Get it funded, and you'll be good.
Okay, so to piggyback off that, because I already have a SEP, so I can have a solo as well with the SEP.
No.
Okay.
Pick one or the other.
Okay.
But look, if you want to keep the SEP, just get yourself putting, every time you do a deal, put 10% away, have income. At the end of the year, what happens at the end of the year, how you really do this, is that you look at the end of the year with your accountant. This is how we do it. End of the year with the accountant, we go, here's how much money we made. What's the maximum I can now put away? And based on our tax returns and how much money we show as income, he gives us the number. Does this make sense? Do you have an accountant?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I don't go see him like I should.
you don't go see him. Remember when I said rich people get help? Yeah. Yeah. You got. You know. I mean, look, H&R Block can help you too, but the tax game matters, and don't be going in on April 15th and trying to figure this out. That's why quarterly estimates and come throughout the year. Like, okay, here's where I am, putting the money aside, funding the SEP IRA at the end of the year.